Hello everybody and a very warm welcome to One Hub Racing Season 27. We're at the penultimate round of the season and we head to Mexico City. We were at Texas and we stay in the North/South America region, and we will soon find out who will be crowned champion. Will it be crowned tonight? Very unlikely, but you never know. Anything can happen in One Hub Racing. It is a top tier, the pinnacle of the league. My name is Jess Ball, and joining me this week, he covered P3 last week, but he's back where he belongs this week. It is Mr. Mike Edwards, also known as Ivor Brim. Mike, how you doing, mate?
I am doing fantastic, Jess. Of course, a very interesting circuit we go racing at here tonight. Of course, a very long straight down the start-finish straight, but that middle sector, very technical, and you got to make sure you got your setup spot on to not get caught napping in a straight line, but have the downforce in that middle sector.
Exactly, and we've seen in both tiers tonight how people were running a different setup, and it worked for other people, but it didn't work for others, and we're going to find out here. Expect to see a mixture of setups tonight from this tier, as a lot of this tier has been experimenting. We have got the standings to go through before we go through into qualifying. Qualifying is just going as we speak, and the championship couldn't get any closer. 7 points separating Ben Mills and Marco at the top of the standings, but Kieran could still be in there as well to have a chance at a title fight. Atslot could have been, but he's not racing next week. But this is going to be a very interesting fight to see who will be crowned champion from our top three.
Yeah, I think the top three in the championship right now is most likely going to remain the top three for the season. It's just a case of what order are they going to be in come the end of Brazil. But we are here, and honestly, Mexico, it could crown a champion here tonight. I mean, if Ben Mills goes on to take a victory here tonight, then the championship's wrapped up.
Yep, pretty much, and the gap's got to be 21 points. If the gap is 21 points or more to from Ben Mills to his nearest competitor, then he will be crowned champion. We'll have to do some maths, but thank goodness for ChatGPT. Yes, I'm going to use ChatGPT if we do get down to it, but hopefully we won't get down to using ChatGPT. But anyway, without further ado, less waffling. We'll go through the constructors in our little spin in a minute. Let's head into qualifying. It's looking very overcast at the moment, and it is Ben Mills that's currently sitting on top with a 1:14.508, closely followed by championship contender Kieran in the Racing Bulls.
Yeah, Kieran trying to respond as best as possible, but look at that gap between Ben and Kieran. It is near enough 4 tenths of a second, just slightly under 8 thousandths of a second under 4 tenths. But Ben Mills looks to try and put himself in the best position possible here tonight. And Marco, I mean, Marco's doing what he's done in the past few races, Jess. His banker lap is usually in and amongst the midfield. It's not really threatening Kieran and Ben's opening laps until later on in the session, as Callum and Arm just pops himself up into P4 with a 15 flat.
Callum and Arm setting a decent lap time. Of course, Callum and Arm won last week's race in Kota. A really great victory as well. And despite the fact that he's not in the running for the title anymore, because he missed a few races as he's clipped that curb into turn number 1, by the way, but luckily he's on his in-lap. He is still in the running, along with J. Cole, to win the Constructors. There are multiple teams, such as Racing Bulls, Williams, maybe Mercedes, but Mercedes got a lot of work to do, and McLaren. And we know Callum and J. Cole like to work together. And I was saying that in the pre-race show, because J. Cole and Callum are not in the title fight, whereas the majority of the rivals are in the driver's title fight, they could focus solely on the Constructors, and that could play to their advantage, as Arnaud is in 17th position at the moment as he's carrying on with his lap time. And yeah, he's in P4 at the moment.
Yeah, Arnold, brilliant banker lap for him up into P4, right behind Owen Wyatt with a good banker lap as well in P3. He's just coming out on his out lap. And yeah, the times so far, Jess, very competitive. J. Cole, though, has done his lap time on a set of the medium compound tyres.
Yeah, medium compounded tyres for J. Cole, which, to be honest, for some drivers, they just want to get a feel for the track. But I could understand because, you know, you don't want to use your softs early on, but they can use softer. I was able to get 4 runs on a set of the soft compounded tyres in qualifying earlier on, so it is possible, it is doable. Sorry, by the way, that I was switching screens a little bit. I forgot the overlay because I'm an idiot, but we got the overlay now, so life is good. This track, of course, has a really high altitude, quite different to real life, but it's about 2,200 meters above sea level, which can make running at low wings very difficult indeed for all of the drivers. I'm sure people will compromise the high downforce and have a little bit of low wings, but it absolutely depends. Some people can want low wings, some people can't, so it's about finding the right balance for you. But we've seen in the lower tiers, even with people running low wings, the ones with high wings are so good in the corners, people can't overtake.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Obviously, it's what you prioritize in terms of your setup. Do you want to gain the most time possible out of Sector 2, where you're probably going to find more time than anywhere else on the track, than obviously the straight line speed? It might save you from getting overtaken in a straight line, but if you got someone with slightly higher wings that's in behind and they are tucked right into your slipstream with DRS and being able to burn a bit of ERS, they're going to be able to put in a challenge coming down into turn 1, and through those corners they're going to have the downforce to get the move done nicely through those corners. And of course, if you just about stay ahead through turns 1, 2 and 3, they are definitely going to be close enough to have a go in towards turn 4.
I could speak from experience because in the practice session I was running higher wings, but I thought, you know what, run lower wings, and for the actual race. But the lower the wings, the more you start to slide for me. But Axelot was saying to me that he slides less with lower wings, but there you go, he's probably less human than me. But for most people, running lower wings, you slide more compared to if you run higher wings. But for some people, it's completely different. Ben Mills did not have a good lap at all, so he's aborted that run. I have to say, Mike, one driver that's impressed me so far, he's currently sitting in 3rd place right now, Owen Wyatt. He is Colin's biggest good surprise going into this weekend. So if Owen doesn't have a good result, he can blame Colin. And he's my 3rd good surprise because I was thinking the 2 LPs will do well tonight. P3, not that far behind Kieran. That's a solid effort from the Kicksauber.
Yeah, solid effort from Owen, and obviously Owen has shown some very good pace at certain tracks over the course of the season thus far. So I think this is just a track that does suit him quite well, as Casper there pops himself up into P2 momentarily, as Marco gets himself up into P2, just ahead of the RBM, currently on board with Kieran, trying to respond to Marco and his teammates. He crosses the line and he jumps up into P2. So the drivers are inching ever so closer to Ben Mills, but Ben Mills still holds the top spot.
Yes, Kieran is not that far behind at all. I think, I'm trying to remember what the pole time was for P2, but I know pole was in the 14s. I will try and get that. If someone could tell me roughly what pole was in P2, that would be lovely. I do have screenshots somewhere, but I can't be bothered to find them. Cameron Arm heads towards the middle sector, heading towards the stadium section. 4th or 3rd gear, depending on the confidence, but we've seen plenty of drivers go in 4th gear, but sometimes you can have a little bit of a slide. But Callum seems to be taking it very well indeed. Through to the final corner, accelerate on the power. Be careful to avoid too much sliding. Up to the line he goes, Callum on arms, and he goes 3rd fastest. Not that far behind Kieran, and it's quite close between 2nd and 6th position right now. Anyone else on a lap? We've got Seiko on a lap, heading in towards Sector 1. Jaco is on a lap as well, heading towards the final sector, so let's go on board with him. He might have a bit of dirty air from the Aston Martin, but the Aston Martin moves out of the way, luckily. So that's good news for Jaco. So Jaco wanting to play the team game, but wanting to get another good result tonight. He goes 6th fastest with a 1:14.8, which is not too shabby for the McLaren driver.
Yeah, not too shabby at all from J. Cole. And Jess, I do have the pole time from P2 up. If
okay,
you would like to know, it was a 14.674.
14.674 was the pole time. So
yes.
So I'm just trying to put like Kinney's pole time compared to everybody else, because we all obviously know that Kinney and Jacob and all that are going to be in P1 next season. So it just shows that we've got a lot of competitive drivers here in one home. Here's Colin R. Mason. Doesn't look too confident around this track, but he's improving day after day right now as he heads towards the middle sector. He's admitted when we were interviewing him in the pre-race show this morning that this game does not suit him because he has a very aggressive driving style, like me, as he heads towards the stadium section. Purple middle sector for Colin, but that's probably the game telling porcupines. But you never know, he could be purple in the middle sector. That looks very tidy, that stadium section, for Colin R. Mason. The Welshman wants to get another good result tonight. Anything lower than fifth, says Colin. That means he'll be very disappointed, and he'll be disappointed with that so far. He goes 7th fastest. We've got more drivers finishing lap times. We've got Arnold about to finish his lap. Owen White finishing his lap as well, but we'll go on board with Arnold first. Arnold goes 8th, Owen White only 18,000, quicker than his previous best. Did not look confident towards the final sector, and he's probably proven that because he's gone into the pit lane.
Yeah, into the pits for Owen. Wasn't happy with that lap. He was only marginally up in sector 2 as well, so he was, I think it was 18 thousandths he was up by in sector 2, so he was on the deep and edge of improvements, and he decided to bail out of it. Obviously 5.5 minutes remaining here in qualifying. I'm currently on board with Collie, currently down in P14, but flying through the S's now in the middle sector. He's going to get a little bit of a tow from the car in front, and I believe that is one of the RBs up ahead of him. He's going to hope that the RB gets out of the way, and yes, he does, coming in towards the stadium section now. Collie, it is looking like it could be an improvement for the Red Bull coming through the final corner now. And what is this going to be for Collie? Is he going to climb up the order into the top 10? No, he doesn't. He actually loses time.
Yep, he loses time, which is a bit unfortunate for Collie. He's not even in the 40s yet, and he almost blocked one of the RBs on our lap time. So that was Casper, I believe. So I'm going to keep an eye on Casper's lap time, but I don't think Casper will be too pleased with that on his lap time. But you never know, he might have only costed one more time. More drivers are finishing laps. We'll see what Casper could do in sector 1. He's purple middle first sector, so that didn't cost him too much time, but he probably would have got a little bit higher for that. Ben Mills invalidated again on his lap time, so he goes into the pit lane, and Kieran is a tenth down, so I won't be surprised if Kieran aborts his run.
Yeah, I was just on board with Nick, who was currently down in P15 as he was coming towards the end of his lap. He was 2 times up in the middle sector, but decided to dive it into the pit lane at the end, and Lukey also diving it into the pits as well. Curry to the line, and he's going to be improving marginally, but I don't think he improved his position though.
No, he does not improve his position. A 15-1 for Curry, and of course, if you want Mercedes to do well in the constructors, the second drivers need to perform well, and Curry needs to be that wingman for Marco. Curry's really got to get much better results than he's done the last few races in order for Mercedes to stand a chance of helping win the constructors. Look at Kieran in the RB, a 1:14.479. He goes fastest by a tenth of a second, and that is putting the pressure on Ben Mills. Of course, Kieran sitting third in the championship. We got more drivers on
Callum's
laps
on a good one
at the moment. Callum is on a good run. Let's see what he can do. He's 2 taps up, and he's shown it. He's fastest with 1:14.403, only marginal, but people are putting a challenge to Ben Mills at the moment. It's just so hard to collapse around here. Marco's unfortunately invalidated. I wonder if he's going to have enough time to go again. I don't think so. That's going to be it for Marco. Callum and Kieran, that's going to be it for him. So can the likes of Ben Mills and Kieran's teammate Casper Klein do anything about it?
Well, I mean, Casper has just finished a lap. He's on his way back to the pit lane right now. He's in the stadium.
He's not going to make it.
So, yeah, Casper is going to be pretty much all done for. Marco could potentially get himself back out again. He's in the pits right now. He could get back out on track. Ben Mills out on track. Kieran and Callum, I think that's the session over and done with now for those two. So it's all going to be about what can Ben Mills do and what can Marco do when he comes out of the pits.
What could pretty much everyone else do, like the likes of Colin, Arnold, Owen, Atslok as well. I know Atslok could find a bit more time as well. there's plenty of other drivers in this field that can find a bunch of time. So watch out. It is the calm before the storm here at 100 Racing. Let us know in the chat on who you think is going to be getting pole position for tonight. A Mexican Grand Prix, the penultimate round of the season. We could see a champion being crowned on Mr. Ben Mills, but Ben Mills needs pretty much everybody else to have a really bad race and for Ben to have the race of his life. Ben comes across the line to start his lap now. We'll see what he could do. Colin is just finishing his lap. This doesn't look good for him. He messed up a bit in the final sector. We'll see what Colin can do. Up to the line he goes, and he stays in 7th place. He does improve on time ever so slightly. J. Cole is about to start his lap as well. Let's watch Ben Mills go through the first sector. We'll see if he can improve on his lap time compared to Callum and Kieran. Sector 1. He's not even purple first sector, Mike.
10th up, though. He's a 10th up, though, and he's only a 10th off of Callum's lap time, so it might not be a purple sector 1, but it's enough to get in pole position right now. All he's got to do is carry it through the rest of the lap.
Yep, and the middle sector, I think, is where he gains the most time. So let's watch his middle sector. Oh, that was very committed from Ben Mills. That was tidy, not even a lift. And if you're using medium, you can burn the battery and you can gain it back again. Middle sector, I did not see what his middle sector was, but I'm going to leave it all as a surprise. He was a 10th up, so it's going to be very close. But he got a bit squirmy through the stadium section. This might not be enough unless he can bind the final sector of his life up to the line. It is enough. He's found 2 tenths in the final sector. He goes provisional pole position. Marco is going to finish his lap at the moment. We've got 5 seconds left of qualifying. Anything could happen. Colin is going into the pit lane. He can't do anything. We got one of the Red Bulls. It's not colleagues. He's in 14.
J. Cole, next one.
J. Cole will be the next driver to come across the line now.
Yeah, J. Cole up on his time, so he can maybe get himself ahead of Casper and potentially Marco here as he comes to the line. Can J. Cole find enough time? And he jumps ahead of Casper. That's big for the constructors.
Yeah, that is very big for the constructors. Marco is going through the middle sector. He's only about 2/100 up on his previous best, so he's got a lot of work to do. Arnold's hit the wall. Arnold's hit the wall as he entered the final sector, so he can't improve on his lap time. We got 2 of the Aston Martins on the lap. First will be Chris as he bins it into the wall, so he can't improve anything. Owen goes 9th. Atsalot, what can he do up to the line? He goes at 10th fastest. Marco then, I think he's the only man that could do it. I don't think anyone else could do it. No offense to them, but Marco, can he get pole? No, but he improves to P3, and it is Ben Mills, your championship leader, that is on pole. What do you think of that, Mike?
Jess, I tell you what, obviously, all 3 championship protagonists are up there in the top 4, but you also got someone who we believed would be up there at the start of the season in Callum and Armed, and he can play a little bit spoiler by ear because he's going to be the thorn in everyone's side because the Drivers' Championship is over for him. It's all about constructors, and he wants the most points for constructors.
And look at J. Cole. He's in 5th. He's had a good qualifying. So both McLarens, in my opinion, have had really good qualifying sessions. Marco and Kieran, they got a lot of work to catch up to Ben Mills. But here is your order for qualifying for you, for those of you that are wondering. But we'll go back to our lovely face in the commentary box. It's just our pictures. But there we go. But there's certain drivers that disappointed us today, Mike. Who do you think you expected to do well but had a really disappointing performance in qualifying?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was expecting a better lap times to come through from Nick, to be honest. But it is unfortunate. But yeah, I think Nick was one that I was looking at to maybe get himself into the top 10 and... it wasn't the greatest qualifying for him down in 15th place. I mean, Axlock as well usually does pretty decent in terms of qualifying. He's down in P10. So it's one of those ones where a few drivers probably underperformed on what we're used to them doing in qualifying. But qualifying is one thing, Jess. It's all about what they can do in the race, and maybe they're more accustomed to the race strategy, the race practice, and obviously just race pace in general compared to qualifying.
Exactly. And Mexico's not really a track where starting on pole is the best idea. I think both races, whoever started on pole did not win the race, but they were still relatively competitive. But again, they still did not win the race. The ideal scenario that you want to start in is P3 or P4. You're going to get a brilliant run in towards T1. You're going to get a good slipstream, and pretty much, like in real life, it's predicted in real life that if you get a good run into T1, you'll set yourself for a very good race coming up. So you want to be starting third or fourth. Maybe for Ben Mills, starting on pole may not be the best idea, but with the pace he's shown, potentially it could be good for him. But for drivers like Kieran, he could be in a very good shout because he's starting in a position where he could get quite a big toe.
Yeah, and I believe Kieran will have the inside of the track as well for turn 1 as well, starting from P4. If I remember correctly, I believe P2, P4 going down in the evens has the inside line going down into turn 1. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Kieran needs a good start. He needs to tuck right into that slipstream of Ben Mills. And he needs to put him under a bit of pressure early on because you can't let Ben Mills get into the flow of things. So once he gets into the flow, he gets comfortable, he gets confident, and then he can manage his race. And when he's in that kind of mindset, it's very difficult to beat him.
Yeah, it is about finding that rhythm around here because it just goes, I think, in my opinion, it goes quite a bit slower than some races. Like, you think, oh, it's at the end of the race. Oh, it's only lap 12 or lap 13. So it's kind of like mind games, kind of endurance. The tyres start to slide on the mediums about lap 5 or lap 6. But it does depend on what downforce setup that these drivers are going to be running. In terms of strategies, Mike, avoid the softs at all costs. We've seen it in P3 tier. If you start on the softs, you're not going to be doing well. Mediums is the best race tyre to start on, and then 2 sets of hards straight after. That is the best one to do. But we have seen in P2, people start on the hards and then do another set of hards and then mediums. And that works as well. But it depends if you can have the pace to make your way through the field.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing. Like, if you can match pace with those on the mediums, on the hards at the start, and not lose a huge amount of time when they are on their fresher tyres in behind, then you can make starting on the hards work. But for the purpose of just having a straightforward race and you know you're going to be on the best tyre at the best time, starting on a set of the mediums is probably the best way to go about it.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think starting on the medium's probably the better option. You're going to be in a very decent position. We've had some media day stuff to go through. We may as well go through it with you. We'll go with drivers' press conference for now. We will go through the pre-race interviews whilst we are in the race itself. Callum Arnold was called to the drivers' press conference. People tipped you to be in the title fight this season, but it's been a difficult season for you. Are you able to pinpoint what has gone wrong, or is there a range of problems that affected your title challenge? And he said, missing a couple of races hasn't helped. Also, one weekend I missed quali. Because of how good the competition is this season, it's hard to get into the top 3, let alone win. Ben Mills is an alien, so fair play to him. So yeah, for him, it's a combination of missing a couple of races and missing quali. Not ideal for Callum unarmed there.
No, it's never ideal when you got to miss a couple of races in the season, because you are essentially playing catch up with the rest of the field. There's definitely a few races I think where Callum could maybe, you'll probably look back and think, oh, I should have got a bit more out of that. Like, Ben Mills will also look at this as one to look back on as well. But Silverstone springs to mind for the pair in terms of the races where they would have hoped for more.
Yep, Silverstone, I think we had quite a few drivers that had a puncher in Silverstone. Yes, we keep bringing the punchers, but I wonder if this could cost maybe even Ben Mills potentially if Kieran or Marco have a good race tonight. We will have to wait and see. And we're talking about rivalries. both my good surprises, Arnaud and Senna, have been called to the rivalries this week, and they joined the season quite late and found themselves as teammate. And they were asked who the #1 driver was, and is it clear to race between them guys for the last 2 races, or it's elbows out. Senna said it's all fun on his end. They're a team as one, and they try to help each other with everything they can. They have only Senna only has 35 hours in the game, and that's shown with the pace, but it means that he's way more focused on having fun and helping his teammate rather than getting the most possible points. That is very interesting, actually. I love that pressure where you could just go out there, have fun, no pressure. But when he was asked about his teammate, Arnaud is great. They race, but we also don't screw around. Usually it's pretty clear every week who's the faster driver, and whoever is in a better position gets priority. And then Arnaud said, Senna has been a wonderful teammate, and it's real fun to share the Alpine garage with him. We've been trying to communicate about strategy and other things, but I guess when you look at the standings, we can clearly see who the #1 driver is. Just kidding, we're on the same page, and we try to help each other out as much as possible, and he's a dream of a teammate. So they are good. They have a good team camaraderie at the moment. Of course, they're both in ERT, and they're just having a lot of fun, and it's very great to see, and it's showing with the results.
Yeah, and I think like the big thing for the PRM as well, because they came into the season so late into the season, the pressure on them to be like winning races left, right, and center isn't really there. So they're able to, to get used to the game, have fun, get used to the drivers in the field again, and just get back to grips in terms of racing again. And for the PRM, it's been an absolute. It's been an absolute delight seeing them battling out in the midfield, and of course Arnold getting some good results, Senna being pretty much in the top 10 as well, quite consistently. So it shows that even with the lack of time that they have, they are still very competitive on this game.
They are, and watch out for next season, because I do believe they're going to be attending next season. And once they have more experience with the game, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. We've seen that with plenty of drivers in the last few seasons, where they only had the game a few races into the season, and then when they got used to it, they were like a house on fire. We talked about the driver standings earlier on. Let's go through the constructors standings, which is looking closer than ever. I'm almost certain the constructors will go down to Brazil next time out. Racing Bulls currently in the lead on 186 points. Then we got Williams on 174, McLaren on 154, and Mercedes on 117. Mercedes, probably a bit of a miracle for them to win the constructors, but very close between RB, Williams, and McLaren. All 3 teams have had shockers this season. Of course, Ben Mills, he struggled a little bit in Silverstone. He also had another bad race elsewhere, I believe, as well. Callum Unarmed, of course, missed a few races. Casper and Kieran both had a fair share of bad races. So it's going to be tight, and I can't really call it. If you ask me, who's going to win the constructors, Jess, I have no idea.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, and this is the way I look at it, Jess. Obviously, Aston Martin is also on 117 points as well in 5th place in the constructors. But from what we've seen this season, from Aston Martin, from Mercedes, and from Williams for the majority of the season, there's a clear #1 driver picking up the top end points, and the other drivers, the second drivers, they've been contributing where they can because they don't have the top the podium pace week in, week out that the #1 drivers do.
Apart from
but when it
Lukey and
comes to
Silverstone.
McLaren, yeah, Lukey and Silverstone, but McLaren and RB, I think those 2 pairings are probably the best pairings out of all the constructors that are going for the constructors title at the moment. And the difference between them, I think, has been the fact that Callum has had to take a few races out.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you there, Mike. I mean, I think if both drivers were there for the whole season, I think McLaren would have won the constructors. That will be my opinion. Racing Bulls, I'm almost certain they're going to have a lot of work to do in order to get both drivers up there. But both drivers have the pace to win races. We've seen that this season. And you can see how many points people have scored throughout the season. Racing Bulls have been in the double digits almost every race. Williams only scored 4 or 2 points in a couple of races. Same with McLaren. McLaren only scored 5 points in Qatar, 6 points in Singapore. not the best idea. But then they clawed their way back up, Williams and McLaren, in the last race in COTA. So it does show that everything is possible. And the grid is still being set up. That's why we're still waffling and still talking a little bit. So let's get our predictions for the top 3 then. So Mike, starting with you, who do you think is going to be top 3 in the race? Of course, we have plenty of drivers taking penalties. So Seiko taking an engine penalty. Marco, Alexa, Curry and Arnaud taking gearbox penalties. Who do you think is going to be doing well? Who do you think is going to be your top 3?
I think we are going to have Callum and Arm take the race win, just ahead of Ben Mills in a second. And then Kieran third. It's a boring one, but those are my top 3 for today.
Top 3. Okay, I'm going to go with Ben Mills P1, Callum P2, and I'm going to go with Kieran. I'm going to go with Kieran P3. That's going to be my prediction. Now, the reason why we are delayed going is Marco is having problems connecting to the PlayStation servers. That is a bit frustrating for Marco. If we didn't have anything else on after this, we would have waited for them. But we kind of got a certain real-life race to watch in about an hour and 20 minutes. So we kind of need to get going. So that could be a shame. This could mean it'll be more than likely that Ben Mills will win the title tonight. But Kieran's got a very good shot with both hands to close in on Ben Mills in the championship. It's very annoying. And I've also just been told that Ben Mills can't race next week. What? Hang on. The championship is getting very spicy now at the moment. So it may not be over for Marco.
It may not be over for Marco, but what this does now, Jess, it puts Kieran in a very great position because he can race here, no issues with connecting to the network or anything. And then he's racing next week when Ben Mills isn't here. So Kieran's in a strong position right now. Yeah,
pretty much. This is insane. That is... I was not expecting it. I don't usually look at the Discord chat, but I was looking at it today, and thank goodness I did, because this is going to get very interesting. So Ben Mills needs a race win. He needs the race win. We're going to have to use ChatGPT, folks, today. I was hoping that we won't, but we're going to have to use ChatGPT to work out some stuff. But anyway, here we go. We'll go through the sponsors then before we head to the main race action. Next Level Racing sponsors the league by providing some really great prizes for us this season. We got Pure Sim Gear. You can get 10% off by using the code OHR10P at checkout. You can get some gloves and socks from them. The winner of the Speedster Award will get some as well, the one with the most combined poles and fastest laps. We've got Sim Racing Setups, our new sponsor. You can get a discount from them by using the code OneHubRacing at checkout, and there's also prizes for the driver of the day and the driver of the season. We got our partners Vespertina supporting our merchandise and also help with the payment system this season and providing prizes for the Going Gets Tough Award and our rankings. And finally, to our partners at SimGrid. Without SimGrid, we'll be doing the standings on Google Sheets and signs up on Google Forms, and we don't want that, guys. So there you go. Thank you very much to all of our sponsors. And without further ado, let me go onto the gameplay screen for, first of all, so I don't forget. So then we're not on the calendar screen for like 5-6 laps. So hopefully we can try and get Marco in the lobby. If not, it's going to be gutting if he does miss this, and this could be championship over for him. But if Ben Mills has a shocker, and if Kieran has a shocker, Marco could still be up there next week too.
Yeah, I think I haven't seen Marco rejoin the lobby yet, which is a concern. But it's gonna be a very interesting one because I just don't see Kieran and Ben Mills both having shocker races here today.
30-second countdown.
So I think Marco's going to be on the back foot in that thread.
30-second countdown. Lukey has been given the call. Well, Lukey had given the call from the P1 drivers to ready up, and Marco still no sign of him. So we could see a champion crowned tonight. Kieran needs the race of his life here. I wonder if that's going to put more pressure on him. We'll have to wait and see. Here we go then. The 5 red lights are on here at Mexico, and it is lights out, and away we go. And Ben Mills gets a really good start off the line, but Callum goes along with him. Let's see if Kieran gets the toe. Kieran's had an awful start. Castle's had a much better start than him. They make their way in towards T1. Callum takes the lead in towards T1. A really good start from him. Both the RBs are going side by side. They can't afford to do this when they know they got Kieran in the title fight. But Callum unarmed, stretching the lead. Ben Mills trying to go for the move up the inside in towards turn number 4. He stays behind for now. Collins had a good start up into 6th spot at the moment. That's a very good start from him. But we can see one of the McLarens of J. Cole under pressure from the trying to get past the RBs. And we can see Collie
big snap from J. Cole.
A big snap from J. Cole in 5th place, and he almost hit Atzlock. Atzlock's up to 6th already, everybody.
Yeah, J. Cole had a big snap on the exit of turn 6. Colin almost...
Owen almost lost it. He's lost 2 places. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, J. Cole had a big snap on the exit of turn 6, and that caught Colin off guard, and that's allowed Axlock to try down the inside of the Ferrari. He did manage to make it work. Little bit of contact on the back of J. Cole, but I don't think any damage for any of them, which is good for them at the start of this race. But Jess, both of the McLarens are on the set of the hard compound tyres.
Now that is interesting. We saw Larkin and I believe Papa Scrunch do that in P2, and that worked very well for them, but they weren't able to get into the front lot. So if Callum could keep up this pace, watch out for his pace on the medium compounder tyres. Now DRS won't be active yet because it is a double DRS zone that you can see here. It will be active just after the S's. Now, Kieran is still able to keep up the pace. One thing we've got to mention is, Kieran trying to go for the move round the outside in towards a very difficult section. Ben Mills defending for his life here, and that was very nicely done from Ben Mills. But all that is doing is allowing Callum to stretch the gap out a little bit to Ben Mills in the Williams. And as it sounds, I believe, if Kieran stays where he is, the title fight will go to Brazil.
Yeah, title fight will go to Brazil, and Kieran will be in prime position going into Brazil as well, with the bombshell of Ben Mills not going to be racing. But I think the mediums now are starting to come into that window now, Jess, and Ben Mills starting to put Callum under pressure. And with DRS, it's going to be difficult for the McLaren to hold off the advances of the Williams here.
We know that Ben Mills likes to run low wings around higher downforce circuits, but he may struggle in a few laps time, but we'll see what Ben Mills could do. He throws the car to the left-hand side, goes to the runoff area, in towards turn number 1. A bit of a slide from him, which could allow Callum to go for the move, but he doesn't. And Ben Mills takes the lead after starting from pole position. Definitely what he needed. Can Kieran pull up a challenge to Callum on after? He's going to go for it. He's going to go for it, but he shuts the door there. What happened to Ben Mills there? He was first. I think he had a screen freeze. He must have had a screen freeze because he was first and dropped all the way down to 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, as I jumped on the Ben Mills end, he was ghosted as Kieran went past. So I'm guessing, yeah, it must have been a bit of a lag moment there for Ben Mills. Not ideal for him whatsoever, but absolutely perfect if you are Kieran right now, because you're ahead of your championship rival, and your other championship rival is not in the race. So perfect for Kieran.
This is an opportunity that he's probably going to take. He probably wasn't even expected to have a chance of winning the title, so he's about to have some fun. And do you know what this reminds me of? Max Verstappen this year, 2007, Kimi Räikkönen, the man that was in 3rd that we thought wouldn't win the title, could be on course to win the title. This is giving me deja vu at the moment, and Kieran is definitely going to try and do that. Kieran goes through to the inside of turn number 1. Can he hold his line? He holds the slide under control, and Kieran takes the lead.
Yeah, Kieran now into the race lead, and he's going to be hoping those medium tyres have got the grip that he can open up a bit of a gap now to Callum in this middle sector. And he's going to hope that Ben Mills starts to put Callum under pressure, maybe just tries to get through on the McLaren as quickly as possible, slowing each other down so that Kieran can build a gap. But right now, Callum on those hard tyres, he's looking very, very good on those hard tyres at the moment, is Callum, and J. Cole as well in P5.
I wonder, is this the point where the mediums are starting to not be at its best and the hards are potentially being at the best operating window for them, as we're seeing some battles happening all over the show at the moment in the midfield? That's going to get very, very spicy. We've got a DRS train from Axelot all the way down to Owen Wyatt in P11. Bring it on, folks. We pretty much got lots of DRS trains. Axelot is probably going to be in danger at the moment, but Kieran in P1, but Callum is going to be the one that's going to be on the attack. Here he goes, DRS wide open, low wings, ERS, perfect recipe for a move into T1, which he does. So Callum takes the lead. Colin R. Mason gets past Axelot. Jacob and Casper going side by side, and Casper, through he goes, up into P4. We just caught the aftermath of that. But this is very good for the constructors. Kieran needs Casper to be up there at the moment, which he is.
Yeah, Kieran is definitely hoping that his teammate can stay in this pack. J. Cole trying everything he can to get through on Casper, but right now Casper defending like an absolute champion, and he's doing his best to keep the McLaren in behind. Colin does get the move on Axelot, and his teammate Nick almost was able to get through on Collie for P9, so both of the Ferraris starting to make some progress as well.
Yeah, both Ferraris are doing quite decently at the moment, as Curry's had a bit of a moment through the S's section. Luckily no safety car, because that could have been a recipe for disaster for some drivers, in particular if you're on the hard compounder tyres. But luckily no safety car, as we're on the starting lap 6 of 36. That is where we're starting to see the tyres go off, and we've seen drivers come into the pits. Owen is in for his first stop, and to be fair, it is not too shabby for him to go now, because you know who was the first person to come into the pits in P2? A Kick Sauber driver. So it's kind of like tradition remains the same tonight, as here he goes. Waity does the same, and so does Curry. So I wonder if that undercut is going to work. He did work in the lower tiers, and he was in dirty air for the entirety of the race so far. So he just wants to get into some clear air at the moment, as we could see Alexa and Chris having a bit of a ding-dong battle, a little bit of contact there, but Alexa doing a good job just to keep around the outside. Seiko is there too. Now this is very exciting. Yes, it's for the final points paying position, but points can mean anything in terms of where you place in the championship. It doesn't matter if you're not fighting for the win or anything. You got to be up there.
Yeah, and of course, with Curry having that spin and Marco being out of the race, it's big for Chris to be in this fight, because Aston Martin tied currently on points with Mercedes in the constructors. They can maybe build a bit of a gap and now for P4 in the championship.
Ben Mills is in, but don't forget Axelot
Here comes
is
J.
not.
Cole.
Yeah. J. Cole going through on Casper. Don't forget Axelot is missing next week, but J. Cole is through on Casper. Those hards are starting to be the right tire to be on now, and we will expect everyone that's on the medium compounder tyres to pit this lap. Ben's teammate Lukey is also in the pit lane, but here comes Ben Mills, and of course he was nowhere near Owen, so he's got a comfortable gap at the moment. He's got some clear air, which is absolutely perfect. Owen gets past Lukey. That undercuts worked very well for the Kick Sauber driver in terms of the midfield battle. Alexa had a bit of a moment in towards turn 3, which is not ideal there. We're starting to see J. Cole struggling a little bit on those hards compared to his teammate. He's out of DRS range to Kieran.
Yeah, J. Cole really trying his best to get back in that DRS window of an RB in front of him, but right now I think he's just going to be a little bit too far behind, so he's going to lose some time. And Casper, I did clock it in the middle sector, had a bit of a slide, so another indicator that these mediums are beginning to fall away. And here's the thing now, Jess, who is going to be sacrificed out of the RBs? Well, it's going to be Casper.
It's going to be Casper, yeah, because understandably, that's the right decision, I think, Mike, because who's in the running for the title? The drivers? Kieran. So Casper is perfectly fine compromising his run. That was a good pit stop from Kieran as the crew get light work on the RB car. So what the McLarens have got to do now, they got to work together to make sure no one else has a sniff of those two in order to make sure that these two could keep a relatively good gap. Callum has got to make sure that he could keep the gap quite steady at the moment. Maybe they could DRS each other. We'll have to wait and see. As Nick and Collie having a side-by-side action in towards turn 5 and 6. Nicely done. Nick through into P4 right now. They're not doing too bad on those medium tires. You can see they're starting to slide ever so slightly, but at least they're having a little bit of fun. Oh, that was close. They almost made contact there. Colin having a good battle once again. Lukey and Owen going side by side. Oh, it's very close, but they're just keeping it on the black stuff. And Lukey gets past Owen. Owen going to try and do the switchback, go down the inside. That's not going to work either. Oh my God, this is a good fight with this DRS trade between Axelot and Owen. That is very tasty indeed, as Kieran does get past the traffic. That was very crucial that he did that.
Yeah, he did lose a bit of time in the S's, just being stuck behind Alexa there. Ben Mills made the move just before the S's, and you saw the gap just begin to build a bit between the RB and the Williams, as we got Collie and Nick into the pits now. And here's the thing, obviously, now, Jess, now they have a bit of clear air, Ben Mills and Kieran, that they can push into and try to eat into the gap that the cars at the front. But Owen into the pit lane, and
did he have to go? He must have. He probably had to go.
Potentially, we'll keep an eye out on the Discord though to see if he pops anything in.
He was having a good race. He was having a lot of fun. So why did he retire? I have no idea, because we always encourage racers just to keep going no matter what, because you never know, you could get the fastest lap point inside or outside the top 10. So yeah, I'm a bit confused right now. I've been looking at the standings, by the way, because obviously with Marco now out of the picture, I think he's going to be out of the championship, unfortunately. The gap between Kieran and Ben Mills is leading by 11 points. So the gap will increase, I think, to about, I'm just trying to do the maths, 3 points. So it'll be 14 points heading into Brazil next week. Kieran would need a podium at least with fastest lap if Ben Mills misses next week in order to secure the title. As Ben Mills sets the fastest lap, that's going to give him the extra point that he needs. Casper now come into the pit lane. Through goes Ben Mills and Kieran. That undercut has worked well into their favour.
Yeah, and Casper coming out, but he's coming out immediately under pressure from Axel here, who is going to potentially have a little look down the inside towards turn number 1. Out breaks the RB, and this is not what Casper needs, and that's definitely not what Casper needs. A 3-second time penalty picked up there for the RB, and Collins in the mix. And Casper is now under some serious pressure. Here goes Lukey, 3 wide on the run down to turn 4, Jess.
Oh, there's a little bit of contact there, and these two have been rivals this season, and this could not help Williams in the constructors at all. Casper needs to get a move on here, because McLaren are just probably laughing at the moment, because McLaren, they're 1-2. If they could keep switching positions and DRSing each other, this could really help them increase that gap and make sure that they have a very good chance of even sniffing the constructors to RB at the moment. So if I were the two McLarens, just switch positions for P1 every so often, which they're doing, which is a very smart move. They're working together. They've got nothing to lose at this point. This is really helping them. And this is what we haven't seen in many of the tiers this evening. Teammates working together. If you've got a shared goal, work towards it. Ben Mills has got traffic, by the way. That's not helped him in the slightest.
Yeah, but he has now cleared that traffic, and next it's on Kieran to do it. But Casper getting overtaken by Colin down in towards turn number 1 with DRS. Colin through up into P6 now. And you got Axlock, who's straight in behind Casper here. And Casper could be under threat again from the Aston Martin. But it looks like Casper gets the traction that he needs out of turn 3 there.
Yeah, I think Casper is trying to have a good recovery there, but look at the gap between Casper and his teammate, about 8 or 9 seconds. So he could have been up there. He could have been up there, but we got your order there. We got Colin R. Mason, who is a net P3 at the moment, but he's probably going to drop down once J. Cole and Callum on Arms come into the pit lane. Expect the two hard runners to pit in about 3 or 4 laps time, but you never know, they could get the undercut again. I would expect them to switch positions again, maybe. Oh, what's going on? We got Kieran. Kieran can't afford to lose time over this.
Sorry, it was a bit of a lag moment right there. It was a bit of a lag moment. It looked like Kieran and Seagull made contact, but then they ghosted through each other. Then Seagull appeared up the road. So it's all good. It was just a bit of a lag moment.
Kieran's losing time. He's got to gain time on Ben Mills here. He can't afford to lose time, because the more position he loses, Ben is one step closer to winning the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, and the gap between Ben Mills and J. Cole around about 15 seconds. So once the McLarens make their pit stop, they're both going to come out ahead of Casper, I believe, and that's going to be big for them. And obviously, Seiko is going to drop down as well when he makes his pit stop. So, I mean, right now, P3, P4 potentially on the cards for McLaren at the minimum right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be interesting. I like the different strategies for this race so far. We've got people that started on hards, the two McLarens, and they're probably going to go on mediums towards the end of the race.
J. Cole's in.
J. Cole's in. I wonder if J. Cole's going to go on mediums so he can have a very quick stint before he goes on hards. I will not be surprised if he does that. But if he goes on hards, then again, yeah, he does. J. Cole can read my mind. He can read my mind. That's why I'm a commentator. But yes, J. Cole goes on mediums. The reason why I thought so, because I didn't think the hard runners will pit now if they weren't going to go on mediums. J. Cole's going on mediums. He thinks the undercut is powerful. He thinks he can make positions up and then go on to hards for an early undercut. I think this could be a smart move from J. Cole.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be a very experienced move from the veteran in J. Cole. He's going on a set of the mediums now. He's got the pace, and he'll definitely be closing up the Seago in this middle sector. And then the gap is only 4 seconds, and he'll have the fresh, quicker tyres.
Thanks a lot, Casper. That was a bit close as they almost going side by side there. Colin through as well. Casper's really struggling on those hards. Colin is not. And look at that. We got both Ferraris in this as well. Is this real life?
I mean, Ferraris are coming to life right now, and this is not good for RB in the constructors' bid, because both of the McLarens right now are doing very well. And you got Casper with that 3-second time penalty getting absolute swamped in the midfield.
I'm surprised actually, Mike, that we haven't had many people get driver penalties. So we've had Casper, Arnaud, Chris and Alexa get penalties, and that's it. I was expecting a lot more, but it's a bit hard to get penalties around here. So through goes Callum. Callum opted for the same strategy. You go, Callum. So that shows the teammates working together here. This is going to really help them at the moment. And we'll see if Callum will close out. But look at how much time comes off. But Colin through goes hitting the Ferrari and past that stop. But they're going to lose so much time. Casper must be very frustrated right now on the back of these guys.
And now Nick's in the mix as well, as he's on the back as they run down in towards turn number 4. Casper to the outside of Axlock. Yeah, Axlock defending the inside line. And it looks like Casper just...
He's sliding.
Contact with Nick. Nick losing the back end, making a little bit of contact there with Casper. That was pure wheel spin on traction coming out of turn 5.
I wonder if Casper is running really low wings at the moment, because he's probably having the same problem as a lot of drivers, including myself, that are running lower wings. The lower that you run, the more the car starts to slide on corner entry, and that is not good for Casper at all. So maybe he should have won a higher downforce setup, because we even seen people with higher downforce setups managing to hold up the people with low wings. And just look at the traction. Casper just not liking this car whatsoever, and he's losing time. Everyone else around him is losing time, and that's allowing people like Colin and Axelot to really start to increase their gap just ever so slightly. It's helping Colin more than anything, who's up into 5th place. He's having having a really solid race so far. Yes, he didn't qualify well, but qualifying is not where you get the points. He is driving absolutely great right now on a really great strategy as we got Gasper get past Atslot once more, but we'll see what Atslot could do through turn 3 as Collie is in the mix as well. So where is he? He's in P8 at the moment into the right-hand side of turn number 4. He's through on Atslot. And all these guys keep squabbling there as Collie almost had a bit of a psych on the exit of turn 5 and 6, which is not what he wanted at all. This is getting very interesting. But all this is doing is allowing Colin to increase that gap on Casper.
And just look at the gap coming down inside the top 4 right now. J. Cole just over 2 seconds off the back of Kieran, who's in the DRS of Ben. And then you got Callum, who is just outside the DRS and might even get it on this next lap. I don't think he would have picked it up just then. I think he would have been just a little bit too far behind. But he's going to get it on this lap. Callum Armed, fastest lap of the race. And the McLarens actually did get DRS. So the McLarens can now DRS tow each other up to the front too.
Yep, and this is what Callum Armed is doing with Jayco at the moment. They're doing what I said they should do. DRS each other, close to the front too. It's like they can read our mind. I wonder if they're listening to the stream. They're probably not, but this is really good teamwork from the McLaren guys. If they do win the Constructors, I have to say this is the race where I could say, yeah, this is one step closer to them winning the Constructors. But they got 2 of their teams in P3 and P4 right now. Kieran is in P2, Casper's P6, Williams, Ben P1, Lukey P11. So I have to say favourite to win the Constructors, probably an outsider, but it has to be McLaren right now. Callum Unarmed, 1.8 seconds behind Kieran. If I was Kieran, you probably could see Callum closing in through your rear view mirror. Maybe in the next lap or so, I wonder if Kieran is going to be thinking about coming into the pit lane, because otherwise Cam is going to get past and you're going to have the danger of losing the championship this way. So if I was Kieran, maybe pit this or next lap.
I mean, we'll have to see what Kieran is going to do, and obviously Ben Mills as well. He'll be monitoring that gap to the 2 McLarens in behind. And I mean, what we're going to see now, yep, there's the switcheroo once again. And this is where I would have thought, obviously, Kieran and Ben would have wanted to keep this a straight fight between those 2. The DRS trading has been done by the McLarens, and obviously to help them in terms of the Constructors. But
I swear to God, there's 2 battles happening at the moment. Right, we got the 2. We got Williams and RB, the 2 McLarens, and we got RB versus Ferrari. This is getting very spicy, and we got the Red Bull in there as well. I wonder if we're going to get something similar in real life. Probably not, because we have no RB in the mix. But literally, this is going to get so intense now. And all this is doing is Casper is just getting more frustrated at the moment. But we're on to the S's section now for Ben Mills and Kieran. It is starting to get a bit overcast at the moment, as it is for the adaptive weather system. And by the way, we forgot to say it is dry for the adaptive weather. Just saying, we forgot to say because we're an idiot. But we did tell you last week that we're not going to have any rain. So if you did listen, you will understand. Kieran stays out, which is a bit surprising, because look at this. Both McLarens are within DRS of the leading bunch.
Yep, they are now in this train, and Callum Armed has been released by J. Cole. He's on the fresher than medium compound tyres, and you're seeing now Kieran having a little look on Ben Mills, and these 2 squabbling. It's just going to open the door for the 2 McLarens.
They can't afford to squabble, Mike. They really can't. They got to work together here. Maybe those 2 could DRS each other, then fight towards the end. That's what I would do. Here goes Kieran round the outside. They make contact. Kieran spins. This could be championship over. Oh, no. Because he's in 4th place right now. 4th place only gets 12 points. 1st place gets 20 points. I think the way this is going, we could see Ben Mills take the championship, but I'll have to do some maths. Oh, my word.
I'll do maths for you if you want.
Okay, very good, very good. So Kieran has lost 1.7 seconds to the 2 McLarens. So it's pretty much a 3-way fight for the win now. This is going to get very tasty indeed. Will Ben Mills come in? If I was Ben, I would come in now. which he does not. Kieran, I would almost certainly could go in because he had a bit of a slide, but he doesn't come in, which I'm a bit surprised about. Arnold, as Arnold had a bit of a lag spike at the moment, as Ben had a bit of a lag spike as well. I wonder if there's a problem with the lobby, because Ben Mills is down into third again. And that's given a sigh of relief for Kieran, but that's both McLarens for into P1 and 2, but they probably got the move done anyway. Arnold has left the session, so it might have just been two separate instances there, but you don't need to do maths now, Mike, because Ben Mills is P3, Kieran is P4, and both McLarens are leading this race. Ben Mills has had another screen freeze, I think.
Well, I would have said then that if Ben Mills wins this race and Kieran finishes P4, the gap is 19 points, meaning that Kieran would have to win the race in Brazil to what's called overtaking the championship. So it's not over for Kieran, even if Ben Mills wins, but he would have to win in Brazil next week.
He would have to, but don't forget that contact might be investigated by the stewards as well. So we could see the championship decided in the stewards room. We don't want that. We really don't, guys. I mean, I think we've seen in lower divisions people do that as well. But, of course, we will go through that in the stewards room broadcast if we ever get down to it. Nick, by the way, passes Arnold, who's disconnected, unfortunately. Hopefully, Mike can get Arnold back into the lobby as Ben Mills does get past Callum. Up into P2 at the moment. Those mediums are starting to struggle and the hards are starting to come into their own right now for Mr. Ben Mills.
Yeah, absolutely. The hards are now beginning to come back into play, but the McLarens have done the hard work now. They've got themselves in a position where they're going to be able to be on the hards at the end of the race. The same with Ben Mills and obviously Kieran a little bit behind. But they're going to be on the same strategy at the end of this race.
Yeah, they are going to be on the same strategy. They're all going to be on the hardcore amount of tyres. Arnold is not going to be racing anymore. He's been lagging, so I think it must be internet, or it might be the EA servers in general. So yeah, Arnold will not be scoring any points in this race, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. Very gutting for the Alpine driver, but you know, anything can happen in the last race, and we'll hope you can have a little bit of fun in Brazil. Now, I'm surprised Ben Mills is not pitted yet. I've got a sneaky suspicion. Do you think Ben Mills is trying to stretch those hard tyres out to go on mediums at the end of the race?
I mean, it'd be a very bold strategy. I mean, we know the mediums, they usually fall off around about 7 laps into it. So, I mean, he's got a few laps to take these hards to go, but his tyres now are going to be just as good, if not a bit better, than what the mediums on Callum and J. Cole are right now.
Yeah, I think they're pretty much around about the same, so they pretty much have even pace. And Kieran, of course, has newer tyres, and if these three keep squabbling, Kieran could be back up there as well. So it's not over for Kieran. And look at this. They also got to contend with lap traffic. Alexa and Chris are about to be lapped by the front four. So those three have got to get a move on, because yes, they'll be ghosted. The ghosted car could distract the leading bunch, because they'll need like braking references if they don't have racing line on and stuff like that. So it's not going to be good at all. So the ghost cars need to be out the way soon. Kieran's now almost within DRS range of this lot, so it's not over for the Racing Bulls as we start lap 22 of 36. Will anyone think about coming in? They are not. So I think I'm almost certain they're going to be going mediums, because otherwise there's no point going on the hard tyres. Through it goes Ben Mills. Is he going to take the lead of this race? This could mean everything for the championship. Callum gets second, J. Cole third, and they can't afford to squabble these three now, because that's when Kieran can fight back. Nick, by the way, is in 7th place because his teammate Colin and Axel in the Aston Martin are coming into the pit lane. We'll see how that does in relation to those two battling, because those two have been battling all race long. It looks like they've been having a lot of fun, but what? Ooh. If I were the team McLarens, what would you do at this point?
I think right now it's one of it's. I would try to stick it out for an extra lap or two on these mediums. Just try to stay with Ben Mills as best you can. Try to stick it out for another lap or two, and then maybe chuck on another set of mediums.
Yeah, they're potentially. I think Ben Mills has got to go on mediums. Kieran has got to go on mediums.
Oh,
Chris is out.
Alexa
Can we get a
and
safety
Chris.
car? Safety car!
Safety car!
This is good news for the front four because they can literally just come in and pit. There they go. They literally.
No.
That was good timing for the top four. But this is bad news if you're the two McLarens because Ben and Kieran could go on mediums. No, they're not. They're going hard. Never mind. They've gone for the harder strategy. Okay, I'm a bit surprised by that, but yeah,
But, crucially, Jess, the double stack for the McLarens has allowed Kieran ahead of J. Cole.
Oh, this is getting very exciting, and look at this. This could be an interesting fight for the constructors. Casper Klein on a set of the medium compounded tyres. We saw Matthias in P3 get the mediums to the end from there at this point. Will we see the same for Casper?
I mean, Casper's got to do something different. That 3-second time penalty looming over him under the safety car is going to be a major issue. So he needs to build a gap to the guys in behind so he can get as much points as possible. Obviously, what he can do as well on those mediums is really help out his teammate because he'll have the pace early on to try and get through and maybe put the likes of Callum and J. Cole under pressure to try and get Kieran at least a P2 finisher.
Yeah, I think that's maybe what Casper wants to do, help his teammate a little bit. And I think that's smart. I think that's smart for Casper. Casper's got to really start playing the team game here. Waitsy, I don't know what he's done. Waitsy's going on a set of softs. Now, we know mediums is bad after 5 laps. Imagine how the softs are going to be. Waitsy, I think you made the wrong decision, my friend.
I wonder if this is a strategy from Waitsy. Put on a set of softs, come back into the pits, put on a set of mediums, and the safety car stays out an extra lap, and he has a lap fresher mediums compared to the rest of the field.
Potentially, yeah, because he's in last at the moment. He's got nothing to lose at the moment, so yeah, that could be potential. He's near the back, so nothing to lose. So this gives us a good opportunity to go through positions game for all our drivers because everyone has done 2 stops. So top 5 remain exactly as they are. So where they qualify, Mike, everyone's remained the same in the top 5. But 6 from below, this is where they change. Collie up 3, Colin down 1. Axelot remains the same. Nick and Arnold up 2, but Arnold disconnected. Lukey down 1, Curry up 3, Seiko up 3, Waitsy down 1. So pretty much for the top 5, we're going right back to where we started at the start of the race. This looks like deja vu, don't you think? Apart from the fact all the top 5 are on exactly the same tyres.
Well, yeah, this was one thing I was going to say then, Jess. Obviously, we saw the McLaren's pace at the start of this race on the hards versus Ben and Kieran on the mediums. This is the first time that those 4 are on the exact same tyre wear, exact same tyre life. And obviously, Casper on that set of mediums is going to be a thorn in the side for J. Cole. It's going to be big for the constructors as well. This safety car, though, is, unless Casper can get ahead of J. Cole and open up the gap to the rest of the field in behind, hopefully some battling between Colin and Collie holds up the pack from 6th down. It's going to be very difficult for Casper to get himself a top 5 finish with that penalty looming over him.
Yeah, if you've got a penalty right now, you're probably kicking yourself. Collie, Curry, Waitsy and Casper. I would say Arnold, but again, he's not in his race anymore because he disconnected, but there we go. They're going to be in a lot of trouble. So I wonder, I think quite a lot of people don't have any spare mediums left anyway, which is a bit of a shame, which is probably why they're not going to try and make their way through. But at least with a safety car being now at this point, they can manage those hards really well at this point, especially with this high altitude at the moment. I think almost everyone's catching up. We are waiting for Waitsy, and Mike is a mind reader. Waitsy comes into the pits, and guess what tire he goes on? 2-lap
Hards?
hards that he just started on.
I would have thought mediums would have come into play, but maybe he did not have a set of mediums available to him.
Can you check to see what tyres weight he's been? I think he's done 2 sets of hards, and then he's gone on softs and then another set of hards potentially. But if not, that's a bit confusing. But if you could check for me, that would be great.
Okay, so what he did, he started on the set of the mediums, then went on to hards. He had to make an early pit stop off those hards to another set of hards, and that's why he did the softs back to the hards.
Very smart. Very smart. Because I don't think he had another set of mediums left, didn't he? So, yeah, that is very smart from the Red Bull man, who could still get points in this race. You never know, but he does have some penalties. I don't think he's going to catch up. Will the safety car... Yes, it will. Wait, he's not going to catch up. Wait, he's not going to catch up. The Burt Mylander's saying, oh, I had enough of this. I'm not bothered about people catching up. We want to get this race underway. So your running order then, before we head to lap 26 to kickstart this race. Ben Mills, he's going to be the Burt Mylander now. Callum Armed in P2. Kieran in P3. J. Cole P4. Casper Klein in P5. This is going to be interesting now. They're on the same tyres. Same with Collie and Colin R. Mason. Who's going to win this one? Answer on the postcard, ladies and gentlemen. And for the second time tonight, we're about to go green flag racing. Ben left it very late, and that's very smart because he doesn't want anybody else to get the toe. Callum Unarmed is going to get a lovely slipstream. He's going to try and take the lead from Ben Mills. Here comes J. Cole trying to do the same on Kieran. Unfortunately, that did not work out for him. So your order at the moment is Callum Unarmed from Ben Mills, Kieran from J. Cole. Casper is not making any headway at the moment, but this is crucial for him. And he's got another penalty at exactly the same place. That is very costly at the moment. Ben Mills is under pressure for Kieran at the moment. Ben Mills is struggling to close in even on Callum.
Jess, the age-old battle has kicked off again. It's Nick and Lukey battling it out, and now Curry's in the mix.
Oh, this is brilliant. Curry's on the set of the medium, so Curry got past Lukey in towards turn 7. No, they're free of turn 7 now, and this is a battle of the owners, ladies and gentlemen. And you can see Curry's got decent pace on Nick at the moment. He's got to try and go for it. Don't worry, we have no yellow flags. It's just the game doing game things through the stadium section. Curry knows that he's quicker, but he just got to find a way past. This is very exciting when people want different strategies. Curry is doing what Casper could not do at the moment. He got past one car, and he's now going to try and get past another car of Nick Egan, who has got no DRS at the moment. Well, look at the order in a minute for the top 5, because it's going to get very tasty. J. Cole can't get past. None of the top 5 can get past at the moment. So let's jump back to Curry in P10. He's not going to get past Nick yet. If I was him, I would try and get past in turn 3 and turn 4. Nicely done. He only has a few laps to get past Nick, because after that, the means will be an absolute nightmare for the Mercedes driver. So is he going to have another look here? We'll have to wait and see. Nope, he does not. Curry stays behind Nick, and that's going to cost him with the dirty air right now. But Ben Mills was out of DRS range, but now he's back in DRS range as we head through the S section.
Kieran's out of it.
Kieran's out of
Kieran's
it.
out of it.
No, he's not. I don't know. He's found a lot of time for that S's. I noticed, Mike, that he was using a lot of VRS to stay within DRS of the top 2.
Yeah, he had to. He cannot lose the top 2 right now. That would pretty much reside him into P3 at best, but obviously J. Cole looking very quick in behind as well. His teammate is not doing as well as I would have thought on the start on those medium tyres, but Kieran, fastest lap of the race, that is big. That could be a very crucial point come the championship finale.
Yeah, Ben Mills, through he goes on a Callum Unarmed into the race lead, which could be crucial for the championship as well. Lukey passed on Curry, and Lukey has done something that Curry could not do, and that was a very tasty move from all 3 of them at the moment. Again, this could be another crucial move for the constructors for Williams. Lukey's got to try and climb as many positions as he can, but he's already losing time to Axelot. Lukey in the Williams is absolutely struggling at the moment, but let's jump back to our front 3. The battle is getting even more spicier than ever between these lot. None of these drivers had penalties. We don't know how much warnings they're on, but we do know that these hards can last well. But it's a question of who has got the right setup for this track. Axelot's got a 3-second penalty. That's not going to help him in his race. This does give Lukey a bit of time relief there at the back because he's got no penalties at the moment, but he's got to stay within 3 seconds of Axelot. Seiko, on the other hand, gets past Lukey with a DRS. Nicely done. Seiko's having a solid race so far, in my opinion.
Yeah, Seagull having a good race so far, up in the P11, and he's within the time penalty of Curry. Lukey, as you mentioned, he's on the teetering edge of that 3 seconds to Axelot, but he could very well be within the 6 second of Casper, as well as Callum closes up to Ben Mills. Not close enough to go for the move, though, as Axelot gets past Colin there with DRS, and Curry through on Lukey.
Yep, Curry is through on Lukey now, which he definitely needs to do, but we're getting to the point, Mike, where the mediums for Curry are going to start to struggle. We saw that at the start of the race, but we know that they're on low fuel now, so this could be interesting to see if Curry can make those medium tyres last a bit longer. This dirty air is an absolute nightmare, and all this is doing is allowing Curry to be in this DRS train as well. He's got 3 seconds, which is an absolute nightmare, because without that 3 second, Curry could have been up there for the race win as well. The top 4 have no penalties to their name, but what we don't know is, do they have warnings? Are they close to getting a 3 second time penalty? They got to keep it clean, because if any one of the top 4 get a 3 second time penalty, this could cost them the drivers and or constructors.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, another thing I want to bring to our attention right now is that both of our predictions, Jess, are still on the cards.
I forgot what we predicted. Was it
you went Ben, Callum, Kieran. I went Callum, Ben, Kieran.
It's more than like it could go any way. And by the way, Callum is past Ben Mills up into first place, which I think what Kieran is hoping for right now is Callum stays ahead of Ben. I think that's what he's hoping for at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And Callum's going to try everything he can, because obviously for him, getting ahead of Ben and Kieran is big, because he's outscoring the 2 lead teams in the constructors, and then you got Jake who's outscoring both of the teammates, and obviously Casper with that 6 second time penalty, he's going to drop well down the order. Lukey down in P9, he's not going to climb any higher at this moment in the race, maybe jump ahead of Casper, but it's going to be a big points game for McLaren in the constructors.
Not just a big points gain, a massive points gain. And we didn't think that McLaren were going to be in a shot of winning constructor because of the amount of races that Callum Unarmed has missed this season. But over the last few races, Callum has been really good. He knows how to keep title rivals at bay. And because he is no longer in the title fight, he could just have a bit of fun and spoil the party for the Drivers' Championship and help his teammate win the Constructors' fight. And maybe that's what's helping him at the moment. Watch out for Callum next season, for season 28. That's going to get spicy as well when Callum is going to be in at the title mix. We've got Kieran, by the way, who is going to get a bit of slipstream from Ben Mills. This is like a Morgan and Papa Squanch moment from USA last week. This is the title rivals going against each other.
I'll tell you what though, Jess, if you're Kieran right now and you know Ben's missing the final race of the season, are you just content in sitting in behind Ben, because he's not outscoring you by a huge amount, and obviously with Marco not being here, it still puts you in a very good spot, and obviously Kieran does have the fastest lap of the race at the moment. So is Kieran just content in sitting in behind Ben?
I think if the gap wasn't that close between Kieran and J. Cole, then maybe yes, but Kieran is going to be under loads of pressure from J. Cole as well. So I think all you got to do, I think just work together with Ben Mills at this point. Work together with Ben Mills and make sure that you can stay ahead. But Ben Mills is going to not wait around. Ben Mills takes the lead of this race.
Lap 32, the lead changes once again. Ben Mills in the race lead ahead of Callum Unarmed. And the gap, I'll quickly do some maths again at the moment. The gap, 5 point gain for Ben Mills. the gap would be 16 points at this moment in time.
So at the moment, as long as Kieran doesn't drop to 5th, he's fine. Which he's not, because Casper, Cully and Axel have penalties. So no matter what, the title fight is going to go to Brazil, as long as Kieran does not make a mistake. But Kieran ideally needs to come second or win this race in order to stand a very good chance.
Yeah, of course, the worst thing that could happen for Kieran is if J. Cole can get the move done on him. And, I thought that was Kieran picking up a 3 second.
Yeah, I thought the
touch the
same.
curb.
I thought the same. Because that could have been championship over, but it's not. It is not. J. Cole, though, is looking very racy on the back of Kieran. Through he goes then. Kieran's lost time to Callum. This could be McLaren's day. Kieran's going to try and defend for his life. J. Cole using all the slipstream goes around the outside, trying to get past on his teammate. Kieran can't afford to fight this too much because look at Casper and Cully, they're in this as well. And we got Ben Mills in P1, Cameron Arm second, J. Cole third, Kieran in fourth. Kieran's got to do this. Kieran can't afford to make contact. Nicely done there from Kieran. But could J. Cole get the switch back? He's going to try. He's going to try. Kieran got... Oh, that was a bit of contact there. Oh, my God, that was so close. I hope there was no damage from either one of them. Oh, my word.
I'm looking at J. Cole's wing, and his wing looks okay at the moment. So J. Cole has managed to get away with one right there. But Kieran, in S's, he's absolutely nailing the S's because he was outside the DRS for a moment, but now he's back within it once again.
I wonder if he's running high wings, Mike. I wonder if he's running high wings because he just looks so much more confident in the corners compared to J. Cole. J. Cole must be running lower wings compared to Kieran right now, which is why Kieran is doing very well in the corners here. We got 2 more laps to go. 4 drivers can still win this race. I can't breathe at the moment. This is getting absolutely insane. And we got Cam past Ben Mills, Casper past Axel. They're going to potentially go 3 wide here. But, Axel and Casper, they both got 3 seconds. Casper's got 6 seconds, actually, never mind. But Casper is through on Axelot. Casper is struggling on those medium tyres, and those hard tyres are coming into fruition right now. Axelot's got to get the job done. Axelot is having a very good race so far. Round the outside goes Axelot, and I think this is going to be moved done, but they make a bit of contact once more. This is not good at all for Casper's chances of the constructors. He's going to try and get past Collie, as Colin R. Mason winning it as well. Don't forget, Colin R. Mason has no penalties. As it stands, if it finishes as it is, Colin will finish in 5th place.
Yeah, and Collie with a 3 second again, so that's 6 seconds for Collie. So Casper and Collie now fighting for position on track. And the battle in between these guys is allowing Lukey into play with the 6 second time penalty as well.
Yeah, exactly, and that is good news for Lukey, who could get top 10 here. And you know what this means? Good for the constructors for Williams, because Lukey needs to perform well as we're on lap 35 of 36. Ben Mills, I think Ben Mills is playing it very smart. That is exactly what I would have done. I would have not gone for the move there. I would have gone for the move at the final lap. So Ben playing it safe. I wouldn't go for here, but don't forget DRS chicken is banned. You can't afford to slow down, but Ben deliberately not going for it there, but he's going to try and go for it here. They can't afford to make contact because otherwise it could be championship over with Ben Mills missing it next week. Bit of contact, a bit of a slide for Ben Mills, but Cameron Arm just about keeps it together. Cameron Arm keeps the lead from Ben Mills. Kieran in 3rd. J. Cole's winning this in 4th. I can't watch. This is getting very intense. Here comes Kieran. He looks so good on the S's. Look, through they go. DRS wide open. Ben Mills
J. Cole.
J. Cole having a bit of... J. Cole's got a brilliant run. I think J. Cole did a lot better on the S's than Kieran did.
I think Kieran got a little bit held up by Ben in the S's, and that compromised him, allowing J. Cole to have a potential peak here, but that was about who's got the most ERS and the DRS here as we run down to begin the final lap of the race.
J. Cole's in a very good place. J. Cole's in a very good place. I think he can get P3 here. I think he can get P3. Through he goes. Is he going to get P3 from Kieran? Kieran's got to defend for his life here. Kieran's trying to go defend from the inside. They can't afford to lose time here because otherwise this could get decided by the stewards as Kieran going P3 for now, which is very, very exciting for him. And he's now going to go through in towards turn 4. Jacob's going to try and go around the outside. A switchback of dreams goes Kieran in the RB. This is great stuff. But Jacob trying to go through once again. They're making contact. This is what we like to see in one-ton racing. Banging wheels on the final lap. This is what we saw with Morgan and Papa last week. And it's resulted in no further action. So if they go to the stewards about this, well, they're going to say, well, we're going to say, watch the stewards machine from last week and exactly what happened. But Callum on Arms and Ben Mills. This could go down to the last corner. Ben Mills, let's see how much battery Ben Mills has got. He's got plenty of battery, Ben Mills. What about Callum on Arms? He's hardly got any. This could go down to the wire here. Through goes Callum on Arms. He wins a second race in a row, which is great news for him. Ben Mills second, Kieran third, and Jaco in fourth. Colin gets fifth place, his joint best result of the season. Brilliant stuff for Colin at slot 6. Another good result for him. Good result for Colin in 7th, by the way. Lukey in 8th, Casper 9th, and Curry in 10th. And Nick and Seeker get the final point. But who gets the fastest lap outside the top 10? That belongs to Arnold, but he's not here. So I don't think that counts. But we'll see. We will see. But you know what this means, Mike? Championship goes down to Brazil, and Ben Mills is not going to be here. Unfortunately, I don't think Marco is in the running anymore. Marco is eliminated from a championship contention. It's a two-way horse fight, but only one driver is going to be here next week.
Yeah, I believe, Marco was 7 points behind Ben coming in tonight, and I think on count back, there's no way for him to overturn. I think he's exactly 21 points behind now. But on count back, he cannot overtake Ben Mills. So, yeah, Marco out of the race, out of the championship hunt. Heartbreak for him. But Kieran, now the ball is in his court. Yeah, the ball is in his court. He does have, obviously, the fastest lap. 5-point gain for Ben Mills here tonight. 16 points the gap, meaning that next week, Kieran has to finish top 2.
So Ben Mill, I think second place gets 17 points. Kieran, third place, gets 14, I think. If I have to do the math correct.
Yeah, that's my bad. I miscounted.
I'm gonna have a look. But there are your results, by the way. Your order. But Kieran getting the fastest lap. I'm gonna have to do some math here because
13 points the gap. 13 points.
And what?
Marco's still in it.
Only just Marco's still in it. So Marco could still win the title. So we got a three-way fight still, but with 2 drivers. Marco needs to win this race till next week, and Kieran needs a podium, I believe, if I'm Matt's not mistaken. That fastest lap point can mean everything. But I know we got to watch the real life race, so we're not going to keep you waiting that long. So we are going to pick our sim racing setups driver of the day. I am touring my mind on who to pick, but I'll let you go first, Mike, since you weren't here last week. Who would you like to go for, and what is your question?
I am going to go for the race winner in Callum and Armed. My question for Callum, fantastic race. It seemed like both you and your teammate had the perfect strategy, and with the result here in Mexico, how confident are you in fighting for the constructors in Brazil next week?
That is a good question, and thank God you've gone for Callum on Arm, because I wouldn't have had a clue who to go for if you didn't. So my pick has got to be the other McLaren of J. Cole, because both McLarens, I think, worked wonders tonight. I don't think Callum would have won the race if it wasn't for J. Cole, and I don't think J. Cole would have got 4th if it wasn't for Callum. They both worked really well together, so I have to give my Sim Racing Setup Driver of the Day nomination to J. Cole, our fellow commentator, of course. And my question for J. Cole, saying, really great performance. Shame you just missed out on the podium, but you had brilliant pace. What made you go for the mediums in the second stint? And do you think the constructors could go down to McLaren next week in Brazil? So similar question than we asked Callum, but there we go. Things happen. So final round next week, Brazilian Grand Prix. We're not going to be following the real life calendar. We are going to be starting normal time at 7:30. I was just trying to do some mental arithmetic, but yeah, 7:30 will be P1 tier next week. So no real life race. That'll be the following week, but I'm really excited for this. This is going to be a huge opportunity for both Kieran or Marco to clinch the title without Ben being here.
Yeah, big opportunity for the pair run without Ben on the field, but we've seen in recent weeks the McLarens have been throwing their names in the hat and spoiling some parties, and their bid for the constructors could also decide who walks out of Brazil as the drivers' champion. It's all to play for in Brazil, and I'd like to add, Mystic Mike got his prediction right with the top 3.
There you go. We both predicted the top 3. But you predicted in the right order. So there we go. You were right. You get brownie points. You did not have a good race, but you've got good predictions. Can I have your lottery numbers, please, for next week? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll send them over.
So make sure you join us next week for the Championship Decider. I can't wait. It's going to be great to call it. Of course, we've got the P2 title decider as well. That's going to be exciting between Morgan and Papa Squanch. So we got 2 title fights going down to the wire, and I do believe P2 still got their constructors fight as well. So that is something to watch out for there as well. I am really buzzing for that. But before we go, let's quickly run for our sponsors. We won't be too long because, again, we've got a real life race to watch. So Next Level Racing, thank you to them. Of course, Sim Racing Setup for providing prizes for our driver of the days and also the driver of the season coming up as well. And you can also get a discount by using the code OneHubRacing at checkout. Of course, Pure Sim Gear provide a discount to their sim racing gloves and socks. You can use the code OneHub OHR 10p at checkout, and there's also a prize for the winner of the most combined poles and fastest laps. We also got our partners Vespertina providing prizes for the Going Against Tough Award and rankings, and also providing merch and sorting out our payment system. And finally, thanks to SimGrid for providing our standings and sign-up process this season. Mike, before we go, who's your pick for the title now for next week? Is it going to be Ben? Is it going to be Kieran? Or is it going to be Marco?
Just because of the pace of the McLarens and the late charge they got, I think the gap that Ben Mills has is enough for him to hold on to the championship, even though he's not here next week. So I'm thinking Ben Mills to take home the championship. And
you think it's Ben Mills?
I'm going to put it out now. I think it's Ben Mills, and I think McLaren potentially could overturn in the constructors as well.
I agree with you on the constructors. I think McLaren are going to win the constructors. I think Kieran is going to win the drivers because I think he's had great form recently, and with Ben not here, he's going to be probably practicing like crazy to make sure that the title goes to him. So I'm going to disagree with you, Mr. Mike Edwards, and I'm going to go with Kieran. But you're probably Mystic Mike, and I think Ben's probably glad that you predicted him for the title and not Kieran. But there we go. But anyway, I've been Jess Ball. He's been Mike Edwards. Go and enjoy the real life Grand Prix. We'll be back at the usual time, not at 6 o'clock, but at 7:30. P2 will be on at 6 p.m. and P1 will be on at 4:30. Thank you so much for watching. The final round is going to get very intense, and make sure you stay tuned in to watch. Enjoy the real life Grand Prix. We know the action is going to get very tasty as well. Take care, everybody, and good night.